Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Think Before You Hate podcast. I'm Alex of the Chicago Commission on Human Relations, and we are the city's civil rights agency. What we do is we fight discrimination and prejudice by enforcing the Chicago Human Rights Ordinance as well as the Chicago Fair Housing Ordinance. And today we have another special guest. We have Antonio King, who is the director of LGBTQ Affairs for the mayor's office. And without further ado, Antonio King, thank you very much for joining us today. Will you please tell us a little bit about yourself and where'd you grow up?
Thank you for having me, Alex. There's not a little bit about myself, but I grew up in Chicago, born and raised in Roseland, South Side. So I am a native Chicagoan. I've moved away for a few years to live in Tennessee, doing the same work within advocacy and HIV, sexual health, but came back to Chicago 25 years ago maybe, and I've been here ever since. So I'm born and raised in Chicago on the South Side. I began working within sexual health back in the 80s as a volunteer at agencies such as Capona Network, MOIP, that kind of. And from there, I began to work more and more with the agencies and when I went to Tennessee, I volunteered with the Red Cross. But I went down there as a sous chef to cook. Had an accident, couldn't cook for a few weeks, and since I'd registered with the Red Cross, I began to do more volunteer work there. And one thing led to another, and I began to work in full time. Never went back to cooking. Continued to work in the field of HIV awareness and sexual health and advocacy, and came back to Chicago and continued that work. Landed at the health department 21 years ago, this past October, and I've been there ever since. I started out as a disease intervention specialist and then became a supervisor and manager. From there, I became the first LGBTQ health and outreach liaison with the health department and did that for 9 or 10 years, and now I'm here in this position. That
Nice.
kind of led to this. So.
Beautiful. Now, what first inspired you to get involved in LGBTQ advocacy and public service?
So I'm not sure that I got inspired to get involved as more so than I was catapulted and pushed into it.
Okay.
Yeah, I had friends when I was in my 20s, just coming out. I came out late in my 20s. There were friends of mine who were working in the field, but I didn't do too much. I was volunteering. So I would go make condom packs, that kind of thing. But then while I was working at Illinois Bell, a friend of mine, one of my coworkers and good friend, he became ill and subsequently died. We believe it was from HIV, and that catapulted me into working somehow to do something. Something had to be done. That was kind of during, I believe, the Reagan years or right after. So there wasn't a lot of money for research. There was not a lot of money for advocacy. We were just ground level doing the work that we did. So I kind of started from there.
Beautiful. Now, there's been so much love and excitement around your appointment as the city's first director of LGBTQ Affairs. What do you hope to achieve in this new role, and what will you address? How will you address the challenges facing Chicago's LGBTQ community?
That's a good question. There has been a lot of, there was more activity around this position than I anticipated. I know that we've been waiting for a position. As a matter of fact, 2 administrations ago, I was part of supporting the advocacy LGBTQ Advisory Council. I was supporting them in trying to get the position filled 2 administrations ago. So when we got the position filled, me filling it, I didn't think that there would be this kind of response where the city would just embrace me like that. And then there would be news reports all over the country. I had no idea the magnitude of what the position looked like at this level for a mayoral position within the 3rd largest city of Chicago.
You're a celebrity. We're happy to have you.
Oh, yeah. My mother's happy about all of it. Trust me, she's getting all the reports and all the articles.
Nice.
But I didn't anticipate all that. But it's overwhelming, and I love it. I've always been community, so I love the community, and I love the community for loving me. But the importance of it is visibility. And I saw one comment that said, "Oh, can't the LGBTQ people direct themselves? They need a director." And I take it in stride. But what the position entails is ensuring that there's visibility and ensuring that there is a voice at this level to affect policy. There've always been advocates and mayoral candidates listening to us, but there's never been a position where we can actually affect policy and implement some change. And with this administration, I appreciate Mayor Brandon Johnson for, one, living up to a campaign promise and a promise that he said he would appoint this position. He did that. And 2, I've been told that I'm not going to be a ambassador of goodwill. That's not the position. I'm goodwill. I'm not just going to show up at events and take photo ops. We're here to make a difference. So what I hope to accomplish is to, one, get started to implement the mayor's LGBTQ policy plan for the city of Chicago, meaning looking at how we treat the LGBTQ community across the board in city departments. What kind of trainings are being offered? What kind of environment is being offered once they get hired, if they're hired at all? So those are some of the things that I'm looking to do, and with this position, as well as looking at what's going on with our LGBTQ youth. So many times they're put on the back burner, just like with mainstream heterosexual youth. They're not always listened to, but they have situations, they have quality of life issues that they're concerned about. So I want to work more with how can we support some of the programming that's happening, and how can we implement some change at that level as well as looking at our aging LGBTQ adults. That's another population that we really don't talk a lot about within the community, and some of their needs and some of the things that are indicative of their quality of life.
You actually answered the next question I was about to ask. I was going to ask you about, first initiatives that you plan on taking on. Well, no, that's perfect, because, I was going to ask, what programming do you plan on guiding, and the type of policies that you wanted to implement and what have you, and what that looked like, unless there was anything else you wanted to expand on.
Well, there's more I can spend on that. I think in addition to what I was saying, one of the ways that we look to do that is partnering, collaborating, and sitting with agencies that are doing that kind of work already. And some of our city departments that have programs that are working, we want to see what we can do to shore those up. There are many agencies such as Pride Action Tank who do great work with aging LGBTQ members. Task Force Prevention Community Services on the West Side doing great work with LGBTQ trans and non-binary youth and young adults. Life is Work, who's doing great work with trans as well. We just want to look at some of the programming that's existing, and some of these programs, I was going to say, are being federally funded. And let's hope that funding continues in light of this administration. But again, we'll be looking at what we can do to help them to stay sustainable. What can we do to shore up what they're doing, and how can we help them to collaborate with each other to make sure that we can get these services to the community, and that at the mayor's level, the mayor can, whatever the administration can do to support that, we will definitely do it. That's my position, to make sure we're focused and we're supporting the agencies.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you've been involved in cultural initiatives such as the Continental Pageantry System and organizing citywide events like the 50th Stonewall Anniversary Pride Reception. How important do you feel is cultural visibility to achieving broader policy change? And also, can you explain how you would do so, how it would do so, rather?
I think it's very important, culture. I think because, let's face it, I know when I talk to my family about what's going on in the LGBTQ plus community, they're not aware. They think all we do is have a bunch of parties or go to fashion shows and stuff. So, I mean, we do that too,
right?
And go to brunch. But there's a cultural level to that is not always exposed. So it was important to do the 50th anniversary of Stonewall. It was important that we remember and recognize that Stonewall was a protest. It started out as a protest. As a matter of fact, it started as a riot because someone said no. If you ever seen the movie about the Planet of the Apes, and the first ape to say no, and that's how things started. The first thing that someone said no in Stonewall, and they resisted the police brutality, and they resisted the police mandering that was going on, and that's where we began. So I thought it was important that at that 50th year anniversary, we recognize that we're not there yet. We're still, and we didn't know this battle was coming, but we're still battling now with an adversarial administration that wants to erase us, that wants to set the clock back. So it was important that Stonewall that the anniversary happened. It was important that we recognize culturally how layered we are within our community. We're more than just one population of people, identities within the LGBTQ plus community. We're not just one gay white male or one gay black male. Sure. We're very layered, and it's important that those layers come forth. It's important that those layers feel seen, they feel heard, and that their quality of life is affected as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what are the biggest obstacles that you anticipate in advancing LGBTQ plus equity at the city level, and how do you plan to address them?
So anyone that knows me knows I don't believe in obstacles. I believe in challenges. I believe in stepping stones. You might put a brick in my way, I'm going to step, because I'm from a people who will not allow anybody to stop us. So I take that spirit into the work that I do. I stand on the shoulders not just of black people that I know and my ancestors, but of those LGBTQ advocates that came before me that did the work. And that being said, I don't want to preach, but that being said...
No, preach, please.
That's
what we're here for.
The challenges I think that we face are not even within the city of Chicago or the state of Illinois. We have a very supportive administration within the city of Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson. We have a very supportive state in Governor Pritzker. We have a very supportive legislative body within our local and state government. So the challenges we face mostly come from the federal government. At this point, as I stated, it's very adversarial. And right now they're using fear. So I think the challenge is to allow us to continue to work together. The challenge is going to be to unify ourselves and to understand that we can't do this alone. We need each other to do it. And although they're looking at me today, they'll be coming for you tomorrow. So we want to make sure that whether you're black, Latino, white, Asian, that you understand we're all citizens in Chicago together. We're all residents of America together. And those are the challenges. The challenge is going to be unity, in my opinion. The challenge is going to be understanding that what's happening to you is happening to me. And the challenge is going to be how are we empathetic and move past apathy to supporting you and making sure that I'm my brother's keeper, I'm my sister's keeper, and that we're all siblings here together. The challenge is going to be making us to stand together.
Are there any other challenges that you feel are present here, just more at the city level, that aren't tied with the current federal administration?
Yeah, report, you all seem to ask this question because they want to know if there's something to me it's political. So let me say, I don't think that there's a challenge in my job immediately. Okay. I have the support of Mayor Johnson. I have the support of the caucus within the city council. I really have a great relationship with many of the council individuals who work in the city council. So I don't find that to be a challenge. I think a challenge will be in trying to implement the policy plan. Okay. Once we pull it together, I think that it's going to be comprehensive. I think it's going to be something that the community will be proud of and want to see. The challenge is going to be, how do we get that implemented? And I guarantee you that there are going to be some instances in there where I'm saying, we're going to need money for this. So the challenge is going to be, can we find something that doesn't have to be funded by tax dollars, or that doesn't have to be approved by the city council to utilize funding, because there's so many other things that others seem to think are priorities. So the challenge, if I have to say a challenge, Alex, I think it's going to be ensuring that everybody's on board with implementing what the mayor wants to do as far as the LGBTQ policy plan.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So here's one question I ask all of my guests, and I'm going to ask you. In your opinion, what can our listeners do in their everyday lives to combat hate and discrimination? You can,
as my forever First Lady says, Michelle Obama, do something. And here's a couple of somethings you can do. Hate cannot survive when there's love and support. You can't hate, and I think it was Dr. King that says, only love can drive out hate. So how do you love? You love by support. There are agencies that you can support that support the work within the community of the LGBTQ plus community on many levels. Some of the agencies that I described, Howard Brown Health. These are agencies that are determined and dedicated to the work and the quality of life, improving the quality of life for our siblings. There are agencies across the country. HRC Human Rights Campaign. Within the city of Chicago, you have Alliance Care 360. I can name a bunch of them because I've worked with many of these agencies. Chicago Therapy Collective in Andersonville. There's so many agencies that you can get behind, that you can lend your dollars to, and it does not have to be a lot of money. It can be $1 or $2 consistently. These are the kinds of dollars and funding and support that we need to show that it's easy for me to say I love you and I support you, but put your money where your mouth is, as the old folks say. Put your money where your mouth is. Right. Put your support where your mouth is. What we need are not just allies, we need champions. And for me, allies speak with you when you're in the room. They're together with you. They're standing arm in arm with you. But champions speak for you when you're not in the room. Champions lift up your name in rooms that your name isn't known in. Champions stand with you when other people are trying to push you down and you don't know they're trying to push you down. So what we need are champions in support, champions in funding, champions in love. And if you see something going on with someone, if you're at a workplace or school or church, Lord knows church, and you see that there's some injustice going on, say something, do something. Stand up and say it's not right. If it's racial inequality, say something. If it's discrimination, say something. If it's misogyny, say something. If it's homophobia, transphobia, say something. If it's a child that's in danger, say something and do something. I know that was a whole lot more than you asked for, but
No, that was perfect. I love that answer. You know,
they didn't tell you I'm in seminary as well. So.
Don't just be a champion. I love it.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now, is there anything else that you want to mention that we didn't discuss today?
Well, I don't know that. Well, you talked about the continental system. I have to say that a lot of what I've done in the community these last 20, 25 years did include the continental system. And that's, for those who may not know, Continental is a pageant within Chicago where female impersonators come, and it's like on a very high level. And there are many of them across the country, but Continental is one of the ones that started it 30-something years ago. It was one of the big four, so to speak. But inside of that, we do advocacy. We do social justice. We recognize that we are all equal here when we come to this playing field. So that has given me an insight into trans life that I otherwise would not have had just as an advocate, because as a black gay man, bisexual man walking around, I'm not always in tune with what goes on with other layers of our community. And the trans community, that the work that I've done in the continental system has led me to help with this position on that level. To see some of the things that they go through as far as name changing, gender markering, and not being able to get a job simply because of how they dress or how they look. Those are situations that I think we need to look at more. Yeah, when you say I want to add something, those are things I want us to look at more and understand that what you eat doesn't make me sick. That's something That's something old people used to say in the South. If you know anybody from the South, they said that, old people. What you eat doesn't make me sick. And I can watch you eat it and you can enjoy it. And I'll be like, more power to you, bro. I'm going to eat this pizza over here. You eat your little neck bones. You know, it's a matter of I don't have to understand everything in order to respect it. I don't have to agree with everything in order to respect it. I may not agree with you wanting to wear a toupee or a weave. I respect your choice to do so. Interesting. I used to work for Planned Parenthood years ago when I was in one of the jobs I did in Memphis.
Sure.
And at the interview, the executive director, she said, I have to ask you this question. I know the answer. It was a great interview. She said, but I'm sure I know the answer to this. What are your opinions on abortion? And I said, I'm against it. And she said, what? I said, yeah, so I won't be having one. But as a health educator, I'm going to make sure that the person sitting across from me knows that that's a viable option for them. I don't have to it's not my life. You have to make the best decisions for your life. And I should be able to support that. And I say that, I know I'll probably get a lot of flack about that later, but I'm okay with that. What I'm saying is, if it doesn't affect you, respect someone else's opinion, there's someone else's choices for their life. Abortion doesn't affect me because I can never get pregnant. I can't have a baby, so it does not affect me. And I should not take that effect and that privilege and say, oh, you shouldn't have an abortion. That's not my choice. That's not my job. I don't have that right to say that to someone. So I say that's what I mean when I say what you eat doesn't make me sick.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. If there's anyone that wants to reach out to you, don't.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm a weird public servant. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. I was gonna ask if there was any social media handles.
I'm on Facebook. Listen, I can't do social media. And when I got this position, one of my Mary Morton said you're gonna have to get on Instagram now because young adults and young people are on Instagram. Only old people are on Facebook. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I will if I need to, but I'm on Facebook. Social media for me is something I do to guard my peace.
Okay.
Y'all have a lot of opinions on social media, and it's not like people understand that you can read something and scroll past it without having to comment on it. If it's something I don't agree with or something I don't like, I don't have to comment. So I'm not on social media except AV King on social media. I do not know my new telephone number for the city, so I can't give you that, but my email address.
I wanted to give this moment a platform for you in case you want to tell our audience how to contact you if you'd like. Because other guests.
It seems like people seem to know how to contact me. I'm on Facebook. Facebook.
Perfect. Well, Antonio King, thank you very much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time. And thank you to all of our listeners for joining us for another episode of the Think Before You Hate podcast. Remember, if you or anybody you know feels that they've been a victim of discrimination in the city of Chicago, please do not hesitate to contact the Chicago Commission on Human Relations at 312-744-4111. Again, that is 312-744-4111. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, we're on X, and most recently Blue Sky. And remember, until next time, think before you hate.